What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, you guys? This is Logic, Reason, and Gimpy. We are just the guys. We
What's
are
up?
the co-producers, and I keep saying
And I'm the official luminary. I just want to say that.
with the official luminary
Is your shirt
Gimpy's.
open?
Oh yeah, dude, he's showing the tats off. He is showing the tats off.
Dude.
Oh,
Ah, come on.
No.
Oh. Is he sitting down yet?
I am
Yeah,
sitting down.
he's
Oh,
sitting
okay.
down, man.
Jesus
Come on,
Christ,
relax.
you storm. Dude, you are
Oh
so
my
easily
gosh.
done, man. My bald
Oh
head
my-
has such a goddamn reflection.
No, it's not that bad. I mean, you definitely
Wow.
you definitely lose the majority of the heat in your body through your head, so probably end up being a little cooler in a few minutes. Oh,
You guys are
good
great.
evening to you guys. No, I missed you guys for the last couple of weeks.
This is
Yeah,
nice.
where you been,
Finally
man?
have a full crew for the guys.
Oh,
I
I'm
just want to
telling
point
you.
out, I feel like we don't get as much love as the girls because we don't have our own opening.
No, you know what? Nah, man. We just come in, we say we gotta say, and that's it. I don't know if I can say that. No, so I caught this. I don't know how much I can say. I know how the YouTube algorithm works very, very well. So I don't want to say anything like I caught this like fake V, and they quarantined me for an entire week.
So it wasn't
and
the thing?
huh? No,
It
no.
wasn't
Well, it was the thing, but you know what? The thing didn't affect me much at all.
Oh, okay.
And interestingly enough,
How did they know it was the thing? PCR?
they just tested me for it. Because you see,
What,
a
with the
couple years
nasal
back,
swab thing?
yeah.
Yeah,
A
the
couple years back, I
PCR.
had
The
type.
odds are you have a
uh,
60% chance that was the wrong result. So
Well, see, you know, the crazy thing about it is I had type B flu 2 years ago. So I'm like, dude, I know what the flu feels like. Like, I know what it feels like. So I'm like, I have the flu. Let me just swing up there. They'll give me a Z pack. I'll be all good. And, blah, blah, blah. Went up there. They said, yeah, this is a flu slash, C test. And put it up there. And kept me in the room for an hour. Came back in. And I'm like, straight Bugs Bunny style. Like, what's up, doc? And he's like, yeah, you got it. And I'm like, all right. So it is what it is. Let's make it happen. And the crazy thing is this: I felt cold for a day. I had just decided to lie down. I lied down for so long, it just my body hurt from just lying down so long. You know
How
what I mean?
long were you out? Like, how long did they keep you out of circulation?
Are we talking about in accordance to the CDC or what
No,
they
in
gave me?
accordance to what the fuck actually happened.
No, they said stay out of commission for 5 days.
Okay, so you followed the new guidance they had. You
Yeah,
follow.
absolutely. I mean, if it was new guidance, it would be 3 days with no mask. But we're not going to go there.
Dude, I had my
Yes.
favorite moment though yesterday in terms of COVID.
No, what happened?
The doctor I was at, we were talking about because they have full-fledged restrictions still there, masks, plexiglass shields, tested.
Mhm.
You got to fill out a form, like more than any of the other doctors I've been to recently.
Mhm.
And I asked the lady about it. She said it's for her patients. Like, it's theater in her mind because mostly like an airborne virus is not going to be affected by plexiglass things hanging
Yeah.
from the ceiling and shit.
Yeah,
Like she's like, I have too many patients that would be uneasy coming into the office if I didn't have the theater. And the funniest thing,
this is a doctor's office, right?
yeah.
So how you feel uneasy going into the doctor's office
Without all the CV precautions in place. She said that a lot of patients were uneasy coming in if they all were asking. And the funniest thing, in this office, they have a giant African parrot sitting on one of them stand things that parrots sit on, like bird like this big. Bro.
Is it real?
Yeah, it's a lot.
No,
it's named Charlie. She's really cool. But like, she goes into a doctor's office.
Is it real? Yeah, his name is
I'm just saying, like,
I don't know. I know.
Like, she said, like, have you ever seen one of those parrot things? So like the bottom is a tray where like it poops. So like you're in the waiting room of a doctor's office and there's a parrot sitting on a thing and you look down and it's like it's waste. Not just like it's shells, it's like weirdest thing to ever see in a doctor's office.
That's what. Is that sanitary?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's fucking like, right? You're worried about the plexiglass, but you got a live animal.
Exactly. Oh my goodness. Well, you guys, just to get some quick stuff out of the way. Don't forget, you guys, September 17th, 7 to 11 p.m. the MCM launch party. It's going to be on 100 East Redwood Street, Baltimore, 21202. You can catch it in mcmlaunch.eventbrite.com. Check it out. It is a free event. Come get some great food. Meet the ladies. Meet us. It's going to be a great location on the top of a rooftop place. You'll see all of Baltimore.
28th
Outstanding. 28th floor. Beautiful. Donations are welcome. Donate, you guys. It would be greatly appreciated. We're a necessary voice here in Baltimore, so anything you guys can donate will help out for us here at MCM and to get the voice out for Baltimore City. Be greatly appreciated. Also, check out the book Color Communism and Common Sense as always, and the Tuttle Twins links are will be.
My Tuttle Twin book, bro.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But I have something for it tonight.
For
the Tuttle Twins, yeah.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So one of their books is, I think, Road to Serfdom. Hold on, let me pull it up.
And I have. That was the book I was going to use. The Road.
The Road to Serfdom.
The next one on my pile.
Yeah. So, but I think that one's real relevant, particularly once we get into the topics of the day, because it's just talks about how the government makes decisions
out of population.
Well, yeah, but they make decisions essentially that are for the common good, but have unintended consequences, and those unintended consequences, really affect us all. So we'll talk a little bit more about that, particularly when we get into the student loans. But I want to start off with actually a game, a Mad Lib.
Okay.
And this is from the Tuttle Twins.
Creativity at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. So let's do this. So let's just go back and forth between you two. So Chad or Reason, Black Chad.
Chad. That's the only
Reason, man. Absolutely.
Reason. All right. So Reason. Give me a plural noun.
A plural noun?
Yeah.
They, them, their. No, I'm sorry. I'm being a jackass. Forgive me. I know that.
You've been hanging out with the woke crowd, I see.
No, man. I'm sorry. I had to just throw that out there randomly. No, it's just because I talked to a guy today who's, you know what? I'll get to that in a minute.
See, it takes 5 minutes.
Plural noun? Okay. Plural noun. Shoes.
Shoes. You said shoes, right?
Shoes. Yes, plural.
Okay. All right. Gimpy, give me an adverb.
Oh, God.
Word that ends in ly.
I know. Lovingly.
Okay. Lovingly. All right. Black Chad, give me a past tense verb.
Past tense verb. Ran.
Oh, you stole my word.
I mean, that's the one that they use in school the most when you're like.
All right. Gimpy, give me a verb.
Punched. No, that's past punch.
Okay. Punch.
They were talking about violence earlier, so I'm feeling violent.
All
right. Reason, give me a noun.
Noun. Clitoris.
What? This is a children's book.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Well, hey, to be fair, it's 2022. That's right up the alley of what's in children's books.
You know what? The crazy thing is you're right. The crazy thing is you're absolutely right about that.
Oh my God.
Gosh,
all right.
It's crazy.
All right. I guess we're going to roll with it. Okay. All right. Give me an adverb, Gimpy.
Oh, another one?
Yeah.
Angrily.
Okay. All right. Dang, this is funny. Give me hold on, where am I? I need another noun.
Banana.
Prosthetic.
Prosthetic is a noun or an adjective?
Well, no. It is it.
Prosthetic.
You could. Damn, you're right. Okay, all right. Hold on. I got this.
Well, Giannis shouting down at me. It could be both.
That's I seriously think it
I
could be
trust
now.
her. She's been teaching ESL
But
now, so she's shouting that it's originally an adjective, but has also been used as a noun.
thank you, thank you, Yana.
Can you use it
We'll
in a
use prosthetic. Well, huh?
Can you use it in a sentence as a noun?
Yes. The
No,
oh
because
my
it's going to be an
goodness.
adjective.
No, absolutely, absolutely. No, absolutely. The gentleman hit me with his prosthetic.
Oh, boom, fire. He just shut me down.
All right. Hold on. I need another noun.
Banana.
I knew that one was coming.
Dude, I love bananas, man.
Oh, jeez.
Give me another noun.
Finger.
Wow. Clitoris and finger are his two big words of the night. At least they're not booked in church.
Hey, you know what? I tried with prosthetic, but I was like,
Okay.
you know,
All right. I needed an emotion.
Rage.
Rage.
Oh, jeez, wow.
Rage is that not?
No, that's an emotion. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. You're getting all the nouns today.
Yeah, I'm like, dude.
Yeah, I need one more noun.
One more noun. Girl.
Wow.
Hey, you know what? If you just said give me a number,
True fits where, bro?
absolutely 2 girl, 1 finger, or something.
And I need an active verb. An active
I'm
verb.
done. I'm so done.
Chasing.
Chasing.
Yes, chasing.
All right, you guys ready for this?
Sniffing.
As
I'm
ever,
sorry.
baby.
Go ahead. I'm
Are we
done.
ready for this?
Hey, before you go, Gimpy, what's the cigar of the night, man? Which one you got?
I think it's a Monty. It's these bad boys that I got from the Koreans up the block.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Me, I'm still rocking my B&R. It's number 90 pure white tonight. It was going to be number 80, 81 vintage green, but I've been doing vintage green all week, so now we're doing pure white by B&R. Good stuff. All right, go ahead, my man. I'm sorry.
All right, you guys ready for this Mad Lib?
Yes.
All right. Let's see how you guys did. Now, this is from the Serfdom book, the Road to Serfdom Tuttle Twins book. And there's these workbooks, that or complimentary material that you can get with the books, activity workbooks with the
stories.
The stories, yeah. So, after seeing how the road to serfdom hurts so many shoes, Ethan and Emily decided they didn't like eminent domain very much. So the next year, when the mayor lovingly suggested a new road be built in a new area of town, the twins ran to think up a different idea. If this road is
mayor lovingly,
yes.
If this road is such a good idea, why don't we punch? Oh my god!
Yes, yes, punch worked out so good. Oh.
Hold on. If this road is such a good idea, why don't we punch people to voluntarily donate to fund it?
This is starting to sound like Baltimore, baby.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Ethan wondered aloud. Emily agreed. So the twins. I'm sorry, bro.
This is awesome. This is great.
All right. Ethan wondered aloud. Emily agreed. So the twins started a clitoris online to raise money.
Oh, we're awful.
Oh god, I gotta stop.
With the help of their family members,
yes,
word traveled angrily.
It did.
The media joined in and interviewed the prosthetic whose land.
I don't know why they would say noun there because I mean, if you threw a noun there, what do you say? Interviewed the cat, interviewed the
mayor.
television,
Yes.
interviewed the. You could put all of this,
Right, a noun. You can put a noun there.
Yes, yes.
You said yes. It could be a noun. Absolutely.
The media joined in and interviewed the prosthetic whose land would be taken through eminent domain. We plan to build a banana through another part of town.
Jesus Christ. Yes. He said we plan to build a banana.
We plan to build a banana through another part of town instead, where the finger is willing to sell it, Emily explained.
Absolutely.
Many voters felt rage about the mayor's proposal and supported the twins' idea instead.
The people.
The fundraiser succeeded, and a new road to Girl was built.
Nice.
Have
you ever been there? Girl is awesome.
Without chasing anybody's land through eminent domain. So
that actually fit. That last sentence is the only one that actually
it's the only one that made sense. Exactly.
So there you go, guys. There you go, guys. That's the Tuttle Twins activity workbooks to go along with the book,
mixed with a bunch of old men.
And these guys. I don't know what's going on.
I can't.
Tonight's show.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Gimpy, kick us off, man.
So, first of all, we got to talk about something that we didn't talk about in tonight's show. I want to talk about the most important news because everyone seems to think that this guy, because he's making that Fauci is retiring, all of a sudden he's not going to be able to be like everybody's saying he's doing it to run away from being investigated. If the Republicans take control of Congress, let's be very clear, people. He can be investigated after being in charge. Just because you leave your position doesn't mean you can't be held accountable for things you did while you were there.
I mean, we see it happening with Trump, though, right?
What was that?
I mean, we're seeing that happening with Trump right now, right?
Yeah, I mean, but Trump is the exception in their side of the line. They're allowed to go after Trump because he's the be-all, end-all of humanity, Whereas going after Fauci is chasing a man who saved millions of people by killing millions of people.
Does that really balance out?
No, of course it doesn't balance out.
I'm just asking a question.
I'm just saying, but dude, this whole thing with Fauci, first he's never leaving. Now all of a sudden he was going to leave before the end of Biden's term. Now he's leaving at the end of the year.
So what is he retiring from again?
NAID, being the director of NAID.
Doesn't he have another position or something that's his, like some company or something else that he started?
Oh, I don't know.
And for those that don't know, what is NEED? It's like the acronym.
It's the allergies and immune. Hold on.
Yeah. National Institute of Health and Infectious Disease, or something like that.
Diseases, yeah. National Institute of Health and Infectious Diseases. Gotcha. It's just another redundant government agency that could all be smushed into the CDC. I mean, it's just another level of government bureaucracy that we probably could streamline, into better.
So why is him retiring news? Like, why did this make the news?
Because he's been the man running the response to every pandemic for 40 years.
So what happens next? Do you think he has a surrogate that just kind of continues this, or is there going to be kind of this new wave of thinking?
No, the government doesn't change like that. The government is like a giant freight ship.
But I guess that's why I'm asking is why is the change? Why is him resigning news if
because he's no longer going to be able to influence public policy once he resigns.
I mean, Obama's still influencing.
Obama is currently the president of the United States in exile.
Well,
the dude is running I'm sorry, I don't believe that Obama doesn't have influence over the current administration.
So you don't think
Susan Rice is an advisor to Biden, and she's getting up today talking about how student loan relief is going to help fight inflation. I mean,
so you don't think Fauci will have a surrogate? I mean,
no,
this guy's been a fixture.
I don't think it works like that for a guy like him.
But he's been a fixture there for how long?
Yeah, okay, but he's
You
just
don't think
gonna,
he's
okay, maybe
trained a
one of
few
his
people?
acolytes takes over, but he's not. It's not a surrogate. Like
Yeah.
I don't think it's a directive. Like in terms of how Obama can pick up a phone and change policy, no, I don't think that he'll be able to pick up a phone and do that. I think in fact now he's gonna try and go private or live off the biggest single pension in U.S. history.
I mean, well, he's already in the hands of pharma anyway, too, right? So he'll be fine.
I mean, my wish is that they drag him through so hard that he wastes all the wealth that he made as a federal employee, getting paid more than he could have gotten paid. Wait,
Sorry about that. No, that's
But
Was that you?
that's him.
Wow.
yeah. That's I apologize.
I just
We don't want to see those
nudes
nudes on your phone, man.
Yeah,
Nah, dude.
really, bro. The camera's like at the right angle. We can read your screen.
Oh yeah, I do that for a reason.
He wants us to see the nudes. But I'm just hoping they make Fauci's life so miserable he has to waste his massively accrued wealth in defending himself, so that he ends up spending the rest of his life using all the money he got through literally ruining our health and industry.
Now, is there something because you're like you study a lot, particularly the Jewish faith? Is there something in the Jewish faith that says like people get what they deserve?
Yes.
What is that?
I mean, it's there. You get everything. There's nothing the Jews talk about that. There's nothing by everything is just because we don't see someone pay for it now. They pay. Everyone pays the piper in this life or the next. You can't escape your fate. You know the fate you create for yourself. So, like from my perspective, this man cannot escape the horrors. It started with HIV. It's not limited to COVID. What this man did. This man was awful back. He's the reason why they approached the HIV epidemic the way they did. And how they tried to spin it to minimize who was responsible for spreading it. They're doing it again with monkeypox. How are little kids getting monkeypox from an adult? They make all these, they come up with all these crazy explanations, but yet monkeypox seems to be limited to a specific community. So and then all of a sudden they're telling me kids are getting monkeypox from adults.
Well, I mean, we did just pass June, and there's
excuse me.
Beyonce has a new album out, so I mean, there's a lot of reason I guess kids get monkeypox.
Are you correlating monkeypox to Beyonce's album?
In June, yes.
In June.
Okay. Okay. I get
Look,
that. So about the show tonight, you guys. This is awesome.
No, I'm not done. Fauci is.
He's not done. He's not done.
No, I'm not done.
Okay.
I've been waiting to talk about this idiot.
Okay. All right.
Like, it has to be clear that we are witnessing right now the decline of an empire, and his story, his narrative is part of that proof. He is a man who is a lifetime bureaucrat. He cannot lose his job without an act of Congress. How is that possible that a person who is employed for the federal government needs an act of Congress to be removed? Like, how is that reasonable that we are beholden to these
How did he
people?
get that position?
That's a good question.
And how did
I don't know that.
How did he solidify the position then, I guess? Like, these are questions like we got to ask, because like, who's to say, another position like this, one, doesn't exist, or two, could be created for another area of our lives. Well, and I guess
for every government employee that's at his level needs.
But his replacement.
To remove it.
Didn't you say he was at that position for 40 years?
He's been the head of NAID for not 40 years.
I mean, but it's some inordinate amount of time. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, he's been. Hold on, let me look up his bio.
Yeah, but that's pretty. I mean, it's. I don't. Why do we allow this? I guess, like, at what point do we get to say, where we say like enough is enough? And where do we get past the point? Well, it was like this. It was allowed like this. So let's just keep it like this.
He's been in aid since at least 81.
I mean, that's before I was born.
Well, it was right after I was born.
So 81. Yeah, 81. I mean, that's 41 years.
That's what I'm saying. This guy, but that's the problem in government. As someone who has been a government contractor in my specific field of work, the biggest problem you run into is there are people who have been employed by the federal government for such a long time, yet they produce and create nothing of value, let alone the ones that do damage. I mean, I've worked in environments where federal employees did nothing. And because of worrying about EEO and such, their bosses would do their work for them in order to not have problems. Like, I mean, the federal government is screwed up on all sorts of levels in terms of how it employs.
Oh, that's the beauty of government, right? We got to have more. We got to have more of it. All those people it employs.
Dude, if the government had its way, we'd all be serfs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a firm believer in the change in politics in this country that's gone on over the last 20 years is a shift to a new nobility class. It's a shift to recreate the nobility class that America wiped out when it was created.
So who would be included in that nobility class?
Oh, that's easy. That nobility class starts with anyone who earns $200,000 a year or more is the first level of entry. You have to have specifically correct political views to get into this nobility class. It's a hyper-exclusive club. I mean, there are many people. It's like George Carlin said, it's a big club and we're not in it. That's that whole bit that Carlin does about the government.
Yeah,
that is the most truest thing about government. Period.
And you know, it's funny.
And R.I.P. to one of the greatest comedians on the planet as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring that locally a little bit too. Like Brandon Scott here in Baltimore always says, and I heard him say it specifically to C4 on WBAL. He's like, yeah, you don't know how they don't know how government works, referring to the people. Right? They don't know how government works. You and I know, but they don't know. And we got to understand like there's process and there's things you got to do inside the halls of government that just the general public aren't aware of. Isn't that the problem?
Yes, because government is supposed to be absolutely transparent, and it's anything but.
That's the huge problem. I don't know if you guys have been following the story with Safe Streets here. In Baltimore.
Yeah, we have no idea where any of the money went.
So yeah, they sent out, redacted information to FOIA requests, which freedom of information, you're supposed to send out the stuff. So this is taxpayer dollars being spent on and this not just local taxpayer dollars. We're talking about federal taxpayer dollars as well.
Your camera died out there.
Yeah, no, it's right here. So yeah, we're talking about federal taxpayer dollars. And all this money is being spent for crime prevention, reduction, all this other stuff. But you can't be transparent about the plans.
Yeah, but my question is, so redacted information is meant because it's a security issue, right? The information can't be released to the public because it creates, at a federal level, it would create a national security risk or something. Releasing this information, it's either that it's HIPAA, it's private, or there's some sort of security risk. What could possibly be qualifying for a city to redact budgetary information? How is that?
For a nonprofit organization that's supposed to be,
but it's a city. It's the city providing the information. Yeah. So how can the city declare that something of a public service, a forward-facing public service, has some sort of need to be redacted? That the information needs to be compartmentalized.
National security.
How? How does a city demonstrate a national security? It's not about nuclear power. It's not like this is the people who have been running their nuclear plants, so there's the risk of nuclear meltdown or some shit. I'm just saying, pardon the language, but how does the city justify redacting public record of budget?
It doesn't. But but it just back to the Fauci thing, man. It just kind of ties it all together. Like, how do these people get into these positions and be able to stay there, maintain there, and then the public is really just left in the dark. And
that's government, man. That's the way it's always been. I mean, to be fair,
yeah.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying how many people. So there are 3 different types of government employees, right? There are employees, like workers. There's the tier of their management tier, which is a different type of government worker. And then you have political appointees.
Mm-hmm.
And political appointees are always at this level where they supersede the chain of existing command, right? Like you're appointed in as this is Biden's advisor to HHS. They appoint, they give him, and then all of a sudden, this guy who may have no bearing, like no background, is all of a sudden an authority because he donated. Or think about how we make what do you call the guys that we send to other diplomats?
Yeah.
All the diplomats are people who are friends of the administration. We give out jobs to people based on their loyalty to the current. So you have a whole, just that alone. So that rotates out every time you change administration. So you have a part of the management group that supposedly has say in the direction of an agency that can be replaced just because the administration left.
Yeah.
So you have that, like, for example, my last place, the last agency I contracted at, I started under Trump and I ended under Biden. They were moving in one direction with stuff under Trump. And as soon as Biden, it changed, it pivoted completely. So
that's why nothing ever gets done.
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah. And they fail at organizational level. The government likes to be so organized. You end up having meetings about meetings for meetings.
Yep.
Like, for example, they have test meetings to test the program increment meeting setups, right? So you'll go to a meeting that's there to just test so that in 2 weeks, that when you're sitting there for 8 hours, the meeting is going to work.
Yep.
So you spend 30 minutes one day just to waste time so that the contractor who runs the Zoom call can guarantee it'll work when they need it.
Yep.
And that happens every program increment. It's not like they test it once and then they know that it worked. They test it for every 12 weeks. They're testing it.
Wow. So what else you got on Fauci so we can move on to the show?
Oh, we can move on. Let's go to the show. This is I mean, I don't want to move on.
Go ahead and kick us off, man, with the show. He had to take a puff.
Well, I thought the show was interesting. I'll be incredibly honest with you. I thought the show was great. To start off, I guess with Biden doing this forgiving student loans.
So would you take the money?
Would I take the money? I'm very Bill Burr on this. I am mixed.
Well,
free is never free. Say again.
Hold on. Can you do a Bill Burr impression? Can you say your answer like Bill Burr would say it?
Can I say my answer like Bill Burr would say? Oh well, what are you gonna do about this? Oh well, what are you gonna? No, I'm sorry. That would be his wife.
You're terrible.
Like I gotta do my Beavis impression.
No, man, Bill Burr. Bill Burr impersonation. What about me? What about me?
Yeah, he's a Southie.
I thought you liked the Titanic, huh? Yeah, no, it was a horror movie. Why? Because all the guys died. That's my Bill Burr impersonation. Another one of the greats of all time. Love Bill Burr. He's like
the only impersonation I can do is Beavis.
Well, we'll get your response in Beavis. Come on, man. Focus.
No. Hey, tell me.
So
focus.
would you take the money or not?
You guys get a subject on something that wasn't even part of the show. Don't tell me to focus.
Well,
no,
I got approval for that on Monday.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You know what? I'm one of those people that I'm like. Again, you guys know me very well. You get where you are because of what you do. You know, if you're screwed, it's because you made bad decisions. The problem is people don't want to give up what's free. and free kills, free kills. These Tom Shoes things killed all of these. What I that is that's really really you know what I'll say? Let's do it like this. It depends on how big the student loan is.
Would
There we
you
go.
take the money?
If I'm a
He's not
doctor and
gonna
I've got
give you a straight
$100,000
answer. I don't know how you
no,
thought he was ever going to give you a straight.
yeah, come on now. If I'm a doctor in medical school, and I have $175,000 in student loan
They're
debt.
not giving relief for postgraduate loans.
Oh,
Only
okay.
undergraduate loans.
You know what? Man, I don't think.
So, like, let's be clear, man. I don't know what your college experience was, but my college experience ran 6 years instead of 4, so that I could work full time and go to school. And I still ended up with like $22,000 in loans when I walked out. And I went to an expensive school. I'm a Hofstra University graduate. You know what? Still paid off my loans by myself without help. Are you asking me if I take the money? Fuck yeah, I take the money because he's giving it out to everyone. I'm not going to let the free money pass me. Okay, it's not free, but I'm not going to let the opportunity to reduce my personal debt while everyone else is getting their personal debt reduced. I'm sorry, I wouldn't. I would take it if I qualified.
You would take it.
It's
You would
silly
take the money.
of course.
I knew he was trying. What about you,
I
Logic?
will take the money.
Would you have taken it, Logic? Hold on. Let me rephrase this, Logic. How would you feel? You had 60 grand in student loan debts. You paid it off to find out that this was happening. First, would you take it? Second, how would you feel about that?
So if would I take the money? I think I would have to make a calculated.
And you're talking about me. You couldn't give it.
No, I'm telling you because it would be yes if I still paid less in the long run. Because for example, like it's not free, right? You just paying for it in a different way. Because everybody's paying for it supposedly.
Let's be real here. I don't think people really understand that. I don't think people really get that. Like that's
Wait, what?
I'm sorry. I'll let you finish. I'll let you finish first. But you're absolutely right. Someone else is definitely paying for it.
Yeah. So everybody. I mean, we're all paying for it still, technically. It would just be
no one's paying for it in reality.
Say again?
Arguably, if I can say that the same way we're saying everyone's paying for it, no one's paying for it because really it's just being tacked onto the national debt.
Well, I mean, we still got it. We're still on the hook for that.
No, because we're never going to pay off our national debt. So, let's be realistic.
I still think that doesn't that still affect you though?
New money. Okay, so basically, my point is this isn't debt forgiveness; it's debt transfer because he can't legally do debt forgiveness. He's transferring this debt to the government, basically.
Yeah.
So he's saying we'll pay you.
We're on the hook as taxpayers, but that's a very vague hook. I'm sorry, I'm not for this. I'm totally against debt relief for student loans because it's a voluntary debt you take. But I mean,
I guess if you're giving out money, I would have to evaluate the strings and make sure I'm not read the fine print.
Well, there's an argument if they have to pay taxes on it. Some people are saying that the last stimulus wiped out the taxes on debt relief.
Now you see the information I got, and I was going to share it on the screen, but I'm not. The information I got said that this would be something that is paid off. It would be considered income.
Right.
So you get taxed for it.
Right. Debt relief is considered, but I've heard that in the last stimulus package, they slipped in a thing that alleviates the tax burden on debt relief so that they could do this. This is something that I've heard. I don't know if it's accurate or not. It's just things I've seen out there. I'm not saying that it's absolute. I'm just saying that I've seen people make the statement that there's some that it's not actually taxable like people are saying. But that's something I'd have to go verify. I haven't had enough time. It only you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I guess the question would be, is that a one-time thing?
Yeah.
That would be one time, right?
It's one-time income. You get one debt relief. So it's like you're getting 10,000. You get charged. And I wonder what
you got to look at these strings because it could be something else.
No, but is it capital gains or does it count as earned income? How do they? On what rate are you even getting taxed?
Probably earned income.
Yeah, I mean, I was looking at isn't it something like it's 10 grand? I
Yeah,
mean,
or
did they?
20 grand for people who got Pell
Yeah.
Grants. But it also, one of the funniest things is it's only if your debt is still being serviced by the federal government, meaning about 30% of all the undergraduate debt is not serviced by the federal government because most borrowers, after they graduate, refinance their debt at a lower rate with a private institution.
Yep.
So you have about 30% of the people who might qualify can't even get a look because the government isn't holding their. And then I saw an interesting thing that it actually is 60% of the relief will go to people who are in the tops. Wait, I have to look it up. But it's something like the top 60% earners are the ones who make out the best out of this relief. The bottom 40% don't actually get real relief. Something like that. I was reading on how it breaks down, and it's like it
Yeah, we have to break that one down.
Just
Like,
a break for upper middle class people who went to college.
Yeah, you have to break that one down because it's funny because the people who advocate for this are generally, lower income type people.
I think it was.
And then these same people are the ones that benefit the least from it, which is amazing.
I have to tack onto that. Agree 100%. Because I mean, it's still one of those instances in which, again, as Logic said, if you look at the fine print, it's probably, still helping out people of of a higher income bracket. I mean, again, because when you have less money, I mean, think about what. And I'm not saying she has less money. I'm not saying that at all. But I remember KJ said on the show, she was like, "Yeah, I knew it was going to be. I knew it was going to be relieved." Like, but then again, you have to think about also how it's going to be relieved.
Well, let's think about some numbers too, right? Let's say someone is making what? Let's say they're making $40,000 a year. If you add $10,000 in debt relief, based on the information we have now, you've increased their taxable income by $10,000.
Yes, they're
or
now
you've
making
increased
$50,000.
so you've increased their taxable income, by what, 25%. Right? You go from 40,000 to making 50,000, or hypothetically 50,000. Now
so you're now taxed at 50 grand, even though you're still making that 40.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
But that's if it's taxed as income. If it's taxed as capital gains, it's even more money you're going to pay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when we're talking about how does it affect, lower income, like these are the numbers people aren't looking at. Right. And think about this. This is quote unquote government money now being used to pay back the government. It's cyclical money.
Yeah,
it's no new money.
For sure. But it's moving numbers on a spreadsheet.
Absolutely.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. But if you have someone making, let's say the top or 125,000, you add on $10,000. I mean, it's less of a percentage of their income, so the tax
they don't care.
Yeah, but you also understand it's your income you earned in 2020, so it's not even current. So, like, think about it like this: someone who's a first year out of law school, right? First year lawyer at a big firm, they generally don't make their full salary in the first year. Your first year at a big firm, you make half salary, even though you're supposed to get paid, let's say, $200,000. You only get $100,000 the first year because that's how it is when you're a lawyer, right? So these people who are guaranteed to earn more than enough money to pay back their loans are going to get a ton of relief for it. And again, it's only undergraduate relief.
So let me ask you this: are people dumb not to take it?
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, anything that reduces your debt that doesn't cost you more, like if you end up paying less. So let's say taxes is $3,000 for the $10,000 relief, right? Because it's capital gains, it's at 30%, right? So you got to pay. You're still paying less. You still get $7,000 free on the taxpayers' dollars.
That does make sense. That does make sense.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so
it's no longer on your credit. How about that?
And it actually improves your credit score.
Yes, it does improve your debt.
You paid down. You didn't pay it all off, but you paid a part of it down, which makes them feel like credit companies like it better when you only pay it in pieces.
Yeah.
So how about this? It sets up, first of all, if you two things. One, if we are going to do this, why aren't we taxing the schools' endowments to pay for it? The schools are the ones who created this crisis, knowing that they get guaranteed money from the government in all these loans that kids will automatically be eligible for. They raised their costs. Their costs did not go up at the rate that they raised them.
Yeah.
So they
But
raised
was
it
it
to
the
match.
schools? Was it the
Yeah, the
schools?
schools
Yeah.
I
raised
thought
their
it was
costs.
their like. I could have sworn I saw something back in the day on and I forgot the name of the show. Excellent show, and all they did was bring up stuff that was wrong with the United States. And it talked about how there are like 4 major crediting companies that do all of the student loans.
Yeah,
So
okay, fair enough.
is it for the schools or is it for those loan companies?
Look, it's
Where
all a
those-
cyclical, opportunist environment.
Yeah, but the price of universities is set by the university. So let's be clear: the cost of universities has risen at a rate that does not match the rise of their cost. It's greater than at an exorbitant rate. So my question is why is every taxpayer on the dollar? First of all, if we're going to give forgiveness, then let's penalize the people who created the problem. In order to pay for forgiveness, let's hit
Okay.
colleges where they're not being taxed. They're not being taxed on endowments. Let's tax them. They can pay the 600 billion or whatever it is out of that. We can take it out of them, and no one will feel bad about that because the schools created this environment of debt for all the students. That's the first issue I have with this whole thing, is the approach to solving it is putting it on the guy who went to trade school, or the guy who didn't go to school, or the woman who didn't go to school. Whereas it should be on the people who created the issue, and that's the universities. The second problem is what does this do? It's not like all of a sudden college is going to be cheaper or it's going to be harder to get a student loan, right? Tomorrow morning,
yes.
college will still cost the same amount and it will be just as easy for students going into school this year as it was last year.
Agreed. Yeah.
So does this not create an environment where in 10 years, everybody who graduated over the next 10 years is going to say, well, and now I deserve debt relief because college drowned me in debt. And I'm now drowning in debt. And since you relieved the generation before me, don't you think? And ultimately, in turn, that leads to a path where all university should be free. Because if you keep offering that debt relief, eventually they're gonna try and get ahead of it, right?
So did we just see the first step in free
education? And we know, but not just like totally subsidized free education. It's not even going to be functional education. Because
so we already see the
hold
education
on, but
that
think
you
about
pay
your
for
question though. Think about your question though. You said do we ultimately see free education? I mean, let's think about it. The people who are benefiting from this, a lot of these people have been out of college for 10 years now. I mean, did they know that it was going to be free education 10 years from now? You know what I mean?
No, but that's what it does. It sets up this what do you call it? I can't think of the word now, but it sets up this practice that every generation is going to want their student loans relieved. Everyone's going to say the schools fucked me. I'm drowning in debt. It's crippling society. You know what's crippling society? People don't want to work 2 jobs to pay off their loans like everyone did before this.
People don't want to just like budget.
Yeah. Dude,
Well,
I paid off my loans. I lived on ramen and beans for my senior year.
And I get you. Let me throw this scenario at you because all the majority of the ladies tonight who popped on said the exact same thing. I paid off my student loan. I paid off my house. I paid all of that stuff, right? So, but and that's the let's throw them all everybody into the category of someone that's making under this $125,000, right? So this is the majority of the United States is probably making under $125,000 a year. Okay, so they said we got our financial literacy, we did what we had to do, and we paid the stuff off. Okay, now if you listen to people who are making an inordinate amount of money, who are making over this $125,000 a year, they're saying what you want to do is you want to subsidize and liquidate. You want to make sure you have liquid money all the time. You know what I mean? If you own 2 and 3 businesses, right? You want to get as much money out of this business as you possibly can, so you have liquid money to do something else. So which one is it? Is it
Well,
you have the people who
I
are
think there's two separate classes of people that you're talking about. Like
yeah,
even
well,
in
yes,
those
yes,
classes
absolutely.
that you're talking about, there's
Mhm.
separate classes, right? Because the people making 120,000 and above, they're still just as broke as someone making 30,000.
If they
How
don't
are they?
if they're
Wait.
living if they're living
How do you
If
make
not
that?
more broke,
Why?
because they're
because they don't know
overspending.
what they're doing. Yes,
Because
they
they're
don't know what they're
overspending.
doing.
They're just
Absolutely.
because you make a lot of money
Oh, I see. They're not budgeting
doesn't
correctly.
No, they're
equate
not.
that you have a great financial
Yeah,
education
okay.
or acumen.
That's fair.
What
That's
happens
Absolutely.
being
is
fiscally
Absolutely.
responsible.
you're like
Absolutely.
you think money is more because you have the cash flow, so to speak. You're making 120,000. You think you could spend 120,000 a year because you're going to get it again next year. You don't need to save anything. And what happens is you generally like not you, but
Yeah,
people
people.
because of society overspend. So the guy or gal making 120,000 is spending probably 5 and 6 times, what they should be,
Credit
but because
cards,
they have this
all
quote
that
unquote
stuff.
income, you know, they can afford it. So this question is really one about personal responsibility
Mhm.
versus what the government needs to do.
And to jump in on that, think about what Blanca said tonight. I don't know if anybody caught that.
Yeah, she was making
And
29,000 and paid off
you caught
22,000.
that and paid off 20. She said I had 22K and paid off with a 29K salary. I don't know if I picked up how long it took her to do that. I
28
think
months.
28 months.
28 months. That is fucking incredible. Okay? I mean, that is incredible. That is ridiculously disciplined. And 28 months. Bro,
28
that
months.
is incredible.
28 months to pay off $22,000 on a
With
$29,000.
$29,000 salary. That is exactly what she said. That is incredible. Kudos. Good job, Blanca. I mean, wow. Really.
And
The truth is anyone can pay off their student loan debt over the course of their lifetime if they take budgetary responsibility of their lives. The problem is we live in a day and age where everyone thinks they must have a frappuccino and avocado toast and a $90,000 EV that they can't afford to charge and a battery in it they can't afford to replace. I mean, we live in a society that doesn't understand responsibility anymore.
Oh,
It's
shit.
everyone else's fault but their own.
Yep.
Like no one made you go to college. People keep presenting this argument for the debt relief that you can't be successful without college. That's a lie. Some of the highest earners in the world never went to college.
Absolutely.
Do you know that the highest paying job per hour is an underwater welder? You get more money to be an underwater welder per hour than any other union job in the country. No one earns more starting than an underwater welder.
Wow,
that guy never picked up a book to do his job. Like, to be clear, he learned a trade. Mechanics. We can go through a list of the people. Majority of citizens don't go to college. Like, it's like, let's.
You know what it is? It's not sexy. You're absolutely right. You're 100% right.
Can you play that Biden clip though? Can you play that Biden clip?
Yeah, I got you. Absolutely.
I just want to add to that one thing before that clip plays is that going to college is a choice. When you're there, you have to choose wisely. It's an investment. So it's like the stock market. If I go to play the stock market and I just pick things that feel good, I'm going to get hammered. I'm going to buy companies that I like. Oh, I like this company because they make the avocado toast I eat. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to invest in it. I'm gonna invest in this company because I like the name or I like the attitude that people have there. Nothing with the financial responsibility of the company. Nothing that. So it's the same with college. If you're gonna put an investment in yourself and then pick like I'm gonna major in dead languages, unless you know what career path build from it, which it's possible. You can go be an archaeologist, do
dude,
some stuff with that
the
or
fact
whatever.
that you said that is mind blowing. There was a period of time I was just shaking my head at my daughter because I have no clue what kind of job you can get with a degree in environmental psychology. You know what I mean?
Hold on, in what?
There is work in that, though.
Yeah,
To be
I
fair,
get you.
there is work in that.
Environmental
But I'm
psychology.
more
Yes.
talking about the girl who studies women's studies and then doesn't understand why no corporation will hire her. Because you have no skills that you bring to the table. Being a
Absolutely.
major in women's studies or CRT classes, stuff like that. Anything that falls into like the social sciences that isn't actually career path oriented, unless you, again, it comes back to you can take whatever you want in college, but if you do not have a plan on how to turn it into a career, then it's a failed investment.
Shout
For
out to
me,
Ben
I don't
Shapiro.
even
Shout out to
I
Ben
have two
Shapiro.
majors. I don't use either of them to earn I have 2 degrees from Hofstra, and I don't use either of them to make a living. I went out and had to because I studied psych and human development, and I decided that was not a career path for me. Did I then insist that someone pay back my $22,000 in loans? No, I paid it off, and I went to trade school, and I became certified in computer technology and stuff, and now I'm in IT. Do I use the skills I learned in college? Yes, the business skills, the thinking skills, the research skills. I learned plenty of skills that are useful, but I also didn't take women's studies, theater outside of the required credits. I didn't waste my time in school taking classes that don't net me anything. And you have lots of these kids who took classes that don't net jack, because otherwise they'd have jobs and they'd be able to be paying back these loans.
Side note
I
on
understand
that.
that it's outrageously expensive, and that's a problem. But to say that I can't make my payments, that I'm crushed under debt, let's be clear. Student loans, you can defer. If you can demonstrate that you don't earn enough, you can defer. You can pay back at a scaled rate, matching your income. Like this whole thing talking about you can do 5% of your income that he's talking about. It's not like you never could scale your payments. I used to do that all the time. I tell them, look, I'm earning less money now. Here's my pay stub. I can only pay this much a month.
Yeah. Play that Biden clip.
Yeah, I got you.
Many of you had to leave school because the financial strain was much too high. About a third of the borrowers have debt but no degree, and worst of both worlds, debt and no degree. The burden is especially heavy on Black and Hispanic borrowers, who on average have less family wealth to pay for it. They don't own their homes to borrow against to be able to pay for college.
Now, Gimpy.
Yes.
You're almost married to a POC. How does that?
That's never going to stop being funny.
Oh, that's great.
That is never going to stop. I'm sorry. I am in
That's
an interracial
awesome.
relationship because the left decided Slavs are black.
So, but how does that make you feel? Like when blacks don't own their homes, Hispanics don't own their homes.
I'm pretty sure you own your home, and Black Chad owns their own home. So, like, pretty much all the minorities I know are financially independent. Whether it be in legitimate or illegitimate ways, they're still financially independent.
So, I mean, it's just this like, why does he have to bring that?
That's the church of wokeism. Because
bring
there
that up.
are blacks and Hispanics and other minorities out there who want to be treated. They want that so that they can claim that status. It's a status.
I don't want to claim that status.
Hold on. I think that was mentioned because, quite frankly, and for black people especially, we're a ridiculously emotional group. Sadly, right? And I mean, the biggest things you can say is throw out the word racism or throw out something like that, and we'll go off. I mean, look at the ladies that were on the show tonight. Look at what they said. They were like, Blanca and Autumn, Commissioner, sitting here like, our the other one of our missing co-hosts will be back next week, Shelly E. All of these people stated the exact same thing. She and Shelly E is black as well. What did she say? I paid off mine, and I paid my house off a little. I mean, these are all of these women are saying the exact same thing. I think that was mentioned because triggers a bad word for it. It pulls at the heartstrings of emotional people. You know what I mean? If
Well,
you say,
that works
look,
for you. That doesn't work for everybody.
say again.
Look,
No. I mean, let's be real here. It works for a lot of
still in the
people.
boat that they do this.
It does work
because
for a lot of people.
I mean,
mean,
but it
it does.
doesn't. I'm telling you. Then that just reinforces my point that it's a status people want to have.
Mm-hmm.
It's a negative status, but it's a status. Like people.
But look at who that status is thrown at.
Black people
Look
and
at who that
Hispanics,
black and Hispanic people.
Hispanics are helpless, is what they're saying.
Black and Hispanic people. That's what he's saying. It's this
Are
whole
helpless.
Tom Shoes thing. Let's do it for you, and if we
Isn't that the
continue to do
Malcolm
it
X
for
thing?
you,
The white
Say again?
liberal is the biggest threat to.
Yeah, Malcolm X.
So I'm just saying, like, this is like textbook shit. Like, I'm saying, like, it's not surprising. We shouldn't be surprised. This is how they approach it always. They're trying to convince minorities that they can't get off the plantation, for lack of a
really,
simple
yes,
way to say it.
yeah. We need to help. You need our
Yeah,
help.
but there are people who out there who want that status today. I don't think that this was true 10 years ago, but in I've been saying this a lot lately, but we're in the year 2022 and things are very different.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for example, outside of student loans, like I was at the doctor yesterday, the doctor's saying things to me about the thing. I'm like, okay. And she's like, I have to say these things to you. I'm like talking about, okay, I'm now going to examine, because it was for my face and neck, right? Pain management. I'm going to touch your neck now and your shoulders and stuff. And like that, she had to describe to me every step that she's going to do in order to not create an environment where I might feel she's doing something inappropriate. This is the first time in my life that I ever realized consciously that a doctor is doing this to me. Because honestly, I'm at the doctor's office. I'm going to assume that
That's
the doctor's
automatic
doing their
assumption.
job and
Absolutely.
they're examining me the way
Yep.
they're supposed to. And I'm going to sit there and be a good patient and let them do it. I don't need them to explain to me every inch of every right? I just need them to explain it to me in like as a whole thing.
What's wrong with you?
Okay, I'm going to hold your hand. Oh, I'm going to touch your neck. Like, I got to examine your neck now, which I should assume means I'm touching your neck, maybe your shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Like,
So how did we get to
everything
this?
out for people. It's the same sort of thing here. It's
this?
In 2022, the white liberal is big on laying it out in you're a victim. Hold your victim status. I will save you. But that's in 2022, that's the playbook.
You're right. I mean,
It's crazy. It's
no
crazy.
words on that.
I mean, and it all comes from our favorite book.
Yeah,
Color,
communism,
Communism and common sense. Check it out, you guys. On Amazon, catch the link in www.metroconservativemedia.com, or in the majority of our videos, click any one of them. Which is now a good time for a quick plug. We are just the guys going over the show from earlier tonight, Poppin' Politics with the ladies. I am Reason, that is Logic. That is Gimpy. We are the gentlemen that make the show run. From behind the scenes, we make sure all the buttons are pressed, everyone is heard well, everyone is seen, and everyone gets out. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check us out on Metro Conservative Media at Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Again, check out our website, www.metroconservativemedia.com.
Anchor FM.
And on Anchor, we are on pretty much every single podcast platform you can think of. We are there. Just check out MCM, Metro Conservative Media, or Poppin' Politics. Don't forget also Thursday nights, we have the 8:30 show with KJ as well. We are building. We are growing. We are a necessary voice here in Baltimore. We are a group of urban conservatives that just want change, man. That's what it's all about. Really, we're tired of the same bullshit. I'm not from Maryland, but my daughter is, and my objective is to leave Maryland a better place than when I got here. That's it, man. That's why we're here. We're here to make change.
You said good luck.
Hey, you know what? No, I appreciate it.
Are you
Absolutely.
Sisyphus? Are you pushing that boulder up the hill?
Nah, man, you got to learn to work smart and not hard. I'm not pushing it up a hill. I'm probably using some sort of crane or something to help get it up there, but it'll eventually get up there. I mean, things aren't necessarily bad in Baltimore. It's funny to say that, considering the fact that today, the 24th of August, at around noon, on the corner of Northern Parkway and Park Heights, there was a shooting that took place. Um, I believe 7 people were shot, 1 person deceased, and 6 people were wounded. You guys, we got to do. I mean, we got to
Well,
do
that's a
something.
mass shooting, right? That's a mass shooting, right?
Yes,
That would be considered mass
definitely.
shooting.
It
Yes.
definitely, by all definitions, it qualifies by mass.
Absolutely.
That's a mass shooting, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's a mass shooting. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
but it
another
doesn't
one.
stop with. Not only do we have mass shootings, a citizen of Baltimore who was a 60-year landmark in the city was mugged and beaten and died as a result of his injuries. I mean, Baltimore is just not a safe city in parts of it at all.
All right. So speaking of Baltimore, so since y'all brought it up, I want to get you guys' reaction on this. Let me see this here. Reason, can you share the screen here?
Gotcha.
Yeah, hit share. Just let me know when you share. Can you see?
Which one? Oh, that's sharing all of my screens. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, share mine.
Yeah.
Yes, we push the buttons that make the show go.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely. All right.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna play this 2 minutes 47 seconds, but we can
That's
comment
plenty
while
of
it's
time,
going
Let
man.
it roll, bro. Fire
Roll.
away.
To make sure that we're doing everything that we can send the best cases, but to also make sure that we're not having these frustrating times.
A dozen people arrested earlier this summer as part of a drug ring bust, but some of them are
Wow.
already out of prison.
Some of them already
Today's news
out of
comes
prison.
among an uptick
That's
in
a-
crime committed by repeat offenders, and our Alexa Ashwell is questioning why some of these people are already out on bond.
Today's announcement was part of a 2-month-long investigation and involved guns, drugs, and violent crimes. But
I'm sorry,
not
her
all of the
eyes
accused
scare me.
are currently in custody.
A dozen people arrested, accused
That
in a
dude in the
criminal
middle, his
enterprise
smile
that
scares
police say
me.
operated out of West
He
Baltimore's
looks like he was
Princess
having a good
Plaza
time when he
here
got
on
that
Edmondson
much.
Avenue.
It's a social network of people who were selling drugs. And
My question is how does this dude keep his job?
Hold on, I need you to listen to this part right here.
All right, go ahead.
Hold on. I don't know how. He keeps his job. We know why he keeps his job, but Brandon Scott actually has on a pretty nice tie too, though.
Yeah, but he looks like he's miserable. I have yet to see this year Brandon Scott look like he's enjoying his job, to be fair.
Well, when you have a city like Baltimore that you're dealing with, man, it's hard to enjoy your job.
Yeah, but it's not
No,
like
he's enjoying his job. He come on.
dude, I don't
come
know.
on, man.
I don't
Wait a
know
minute,
that
wait.
he gets good night's sleeps anymore, man.
Nah,
I
man,
really
especially
don't.
when you talking
Like, I'm
like
not a
this.
fan of his at all. but
When you talk and your neck moves like this every time you're saying
yeah,
something.
I'm
All
sorry.
right, guys, I need y'all to listen to this
All
part.
right,
Though. I
go
need
ahead,
you
go
to
ahead,
listen
go
to
ahead.
this.
It's a social network
Edmondson.
of people who were selling drugs and involved in violence in the area where the Princess Plaza is. And
Two of
All right, so did you hear what he just said?
Yeah, people who were involved in selling drugs in the
No.
area.
So a couple of things there, right?
Baltimore's
Hold on,
Princess
listen again.
Plaza here on Edmondson Avenue.
it's a social network of people who were selling drugs and involved in violence in the area where the Princess Plaza is. And
Two
The people
That
who are
had to be
involved,
the
yeah.
wokest statement ever.
Why? Why do you say that? I'm curious why you say that.
There's a social network of people who are involved in violence and drugs.
What should he say that would make
It's
it not woke?
gang violence is a problem.
What is a social network of people involved in violence and drugs?
Oh, I see. Because he won't use the word gang, it makes it woke. I got
What
it.
the heck? A social network? He make it sound like Facebook. He makes it sound like
Facebook of crime.
he makes it sound like this is Instagram. Like, yeah, this Instagram account. Like, no, a social network of no. Call it what it is.
Gang violence.
It's gang
selling
violence,
drugs and
man.
murder.
Look, if a social network of violence. Look, on Facebook, you get banned for thinking about saying you're going to beat somebody up.
And in Baltimore, when you beat somebody up, you get a pass. It's a very interesting social network they got there.
This network is this the social
YouTube as
network
well.
of free speech right here?
No,
Like,
YouTube
is
as
this-
well. I tell you that. Do you guys understand? There are so many comments of mine that don't come up, and then I realize, oh, it's probably because of how I said something.
Dude, how about when we have our pre-show meetings, the amount of effort we have to go into to make sure that
We don't say something.
piss off
Yeah,
the algorithm.
absolutely.
It's crazy.
But
But
to
think
be
about
fair,
think about the
what
the
did you
social
expect from
network
the
he's
commissioner
defining
of
here.
Baltimore? I mean, they're not willing to admit that they have a murder problem in their city.
No,
Mm,
no, it's
crazy.
a serious it's a violent crime issue.
It really
Okay.
is.
And we gotta wait once that gets played out. Let's see what the next term for.
Can I ask you another question? Because a year ago we were talking about 8 Ball's 5-year plan.
Yeah.
As far as I can tell, we're moving in the opposite direction of his 5-year plan. Each year it's
Strategically.
getting worse. Not right. Like,
Strategically.
so how does he answer for that? At this
He
point
had-
in time, why is no one asking him, is this part of your 5-year safety plan?
Well, they are asking him, and
Fox doesn't count.
well, people are asking him, and the response is, well, we've made over 1,600. Well, we found over 1,600 guns on the streets.
That's fucking fantastic, except for the fact that we're on a pace to have more murders this year than last year.
Than ever.
Right, period. But I'm saying, like, this is going to be the most violent year in Baltimore. This is the most violent summer as it stands in Baltimore history.
Yeah.
Outside of the Baltimore riots or whatever that
Let's
was.
finish this.
Of the 12 arrested, juveniles. And according to the commissioner, all have criminal histories.
All of these individuals
Wow.
have prior
And
arrests.
how are they out of
to
jail
include
already?
various narcotics arrests, armed robbery, handgun violations, assault,
Wow.
attempted murder, and even murder.
The department adding
Wow.
these suspects may also be connected to 5 attempted murders in the area this year alone. This reality making it even more concerning that not all of the suspects remain in custody. This investigation began in June as part of a pilot for the mayor's group violence reduction strategy. And so some of the offenders arrested weeks ago have already been granted or posted bail. Fox 45 News questioning leaders about this.
To make sure that we're doing everything that we can send the best cases,
Oh,
but
boy.
to also make sure that we're not having these frustrating times when the police department and state's attorney's office are both frustrated because someone.
Can you
just
pause
keeps
it for a
getting
second?
released.
Does it not bother you guys as much as it bothers me that the 2 people who work for Brandon Scott, the commissioner, and whoever that blonde lady is sitting there with, like, look at the looks on their face. Defeated, nodding in agreement as he spews rhetoric and bullshit. How is any person who lives in Baltimore feeling safe with this image that you are looking at? Like, right? Like this guy. You're the police commissioner. I am not afraid of you. You are defeated. You look defeated. If I was a criminal, I would not have any fear of the police. The head policeman looks like he is.
Let me ask you this: do you think he likes
If
jelly
I was
donuts?
a criminal, I was gonna say I feel like I could just outrun him.
Do you think he likes jelly donuts?
Oh, I think he likes all donuts. I think his punch card from fucking
Dunkin' Donuts?
coffee and tea is maxed out.
Oh man.
Let me ask you a question. How old is this guy?
He's got to be in his 50s.
Yeah, that's my point. Maybe don't you think maybe some new? I mean, even in this paused photo, Scott looks defeated. I mean, he looks
That's
tired.
what I'm saying. He looks awful.
He
lately.
looks
Brandon
like-
Scott looks like he is not up to the challenge anymore.
Like it's like I don't get asked any new questions because the same thing continues to happen.
I don't understand how Baltimoreans can feel reassured. This image alone makes me feel like those who run the city don't have a hope.
I will say this is going to be a great segue into the next topic, though.
All right, so let's finish.
As for this investigation, Baltimore police sharing this photo of what they say detectives seized from these suspects. 7
And they're
firearms,
back on the
including a
street.
sawed-off shotgun, drugs, including fentanyl, heroin, and crack cocaine, ammunition, packaging materials, and $21,000 in U.S. currency. The commissioner questioned on why the department is calling this a social network rather than a gang.
While we're very
Oh, wow.
cautious about how we identify groups and gangs,
Wow.
a
There you
particular
go.
name. There was a social network that they were all selling drugs and involved in violence, which is what group violence reduction strategy is about.
That is the weakest fucking answer in the history of answer. Holy
Wow.
wow, bro. Wow. I'm still
Holy
scared of
cow.
that lady's eyes, but that was a terrible answer.
I mean, what do you think about that? Like that's the police commissioner of
What I
Baltimore.
think about that, I'll
I-
take a shot at this first. What I
Please.
think about that is the fact that they're more concerned about being politically correct than actually doing the job.
They're
Yeah.
more concerned
That-
about
that's-
feeling good than doing good.
Yeah, we don't want to hurt your feelings to call you what you are.
That's not a,
I'm sorry, like there's no way to say this politely. To have the commissioner of police spin gang violence in a city that's literally burning down. Like, let's be clear. Last
well,
year,
we don't want to call it a fire. We just want to call it
call it,
a really hot atmosphere.
A really
no,
hard.
This is we don't want to call it a fire. We want to call it a
You're-
spontaneous combustion event caused by no fault of anyone involved.
Right.
Oh my goodness! It just magically appeared.
This
Oh
isn't
my
an
goodness.
explosion. This is just rapidly moving air in a tight,
And high
confined space.
friction, yeah.
Absolutely.
Like this.
But my question is you guys live in Baltimore. So like I live outside of Baltimore. I live I live right outside Murder Bay. So like technically my town is in Murder Bay. But
Is that what that's called?
Curtis Bay?
Yeah.
Yeah, the nickname is Murder Bay.
Wow.
Wow.
Dude,
That's
when
still-
you go look at the crime thing for Baltimore County, Baltimore City, like my area is just surrounded with icons. Like
Oh,
I'm
wow.
in the little nice spot because it's all
Yeah, I mean, yeah, your area is nice down there.
It's a cool
yeah,
gas.
but
Nice,
if you
man.
go
It's
up
really nice.
Fort Smallwood Road a little, it's just crime. Like
Wow.
it's terrible. But again, how can you, as Baltimoreans, like what you said today in the chat about how you're reaching a point where you can't, like a breaking point with this? Like,
It's crazy.
you have little kids, man.
Yeah.
How do you let your kid play in New York?
Well,
I mean-
I'm
I
not
know
in
you
Baltimore
live in a
City.
safer neighborhood. I'm just saying, like as a parent in Baltimore, the
It's just
fear
tough.
has to.
Yeah.
It is. It
That's
is.
the point.
It is.
That's the
It
point.
is.
And
Yeah.
like, what do you
and
want to subject your family and your friends and your kids, and what do you want to subject them to?
and as we talked as Logic and I talked about today, like very loosely, I'm telling you, you see the stuff, and I mean, what's the response? The response is, you know what? I want to get out. I
Where
want
are
to
we
put
gonna
my kids
go?
in a
No
better
city
place.
is safe.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, but there are
There was a
places that are
shooting
better
in DC
than
today
others.
in broad daylight, around the same time there was in Baltimore.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like it's so.
So my issue too then with this gun stuff is like it's considered a disease.
How
Like,
is it a disease?
It's a disease for the ones. Hold on. You can't really go there, Logic. It's a disease for the ones that are not doing it. You know what's going to fix Baltimore City? What'll fix Baltimore City is you start
down?
making it easier. No. There
Christ
are ways
returning.
that make it easier for people like us, legal gun owners, to get guns. That's how you fix Baltimore City.
I don't disagree about that, but I don't think that fixes Baltimore because the idea with that is deterrent. Because Granny has a deagle in her purse.
Yes,
afraid
that's
to
my
rob
point.
her, but that's
That's my
because they
point.
don't have guns and that they're afraid that the legal gun owner has guns. But the problem is the criminals in Baltimore are packing heat like they're gun stores.
Yeah.
They're armed greater than the police are. Like we were talking about, Tyrone made that comment in the show tonight about the student resource officers carrying AR-15s, right? Like the police used to never have any heavy sort of weaponry until those two guys in North Hollywood held off the entire LAPD wearing body armor and having fully
mind-blowing.
automatic weapons.
It's mind blowing.
And then all of a sudden now, and then post 9/11, we took it to a whole nother level. We have completely militarized police. They are trained like the military is trained in most major cities. I mean, these guys are trained with heavy equipment, armored vehicles. We allow them to use military style tactics and SWAT now. We've opened the door since 9/11. Policing was supposed to be there to make the community feel safe, like they were members of the community. Now they're there as sentinels.
But how do you go back, right? Like, how do you
You
go?
have to convict people, dude. The way you fix Baltimore is you aggressively prosecute the criminals so that they know there's consequence. What's going on now is people commit massive crime, and then 5 days later they're out on their own recognizance.
Well, I get that. So how in the world? How in the world? Maybe I'm just ignorant of this. How in the world is it so hard for us to legally get firearms, but so easily for the criminals to?
It's not really easy for a criminal. It's just there's no regulation. It's not like every criminal can just walk
In Baltimore?
because they know someone who will sell them a gun. That's why they can get it easy, because there's no regulation. They just need to find someone who will sell them a gun. But outside of that, it's not like they can get guns any easier than we can get guns too. I can go to a gun store, buy a gun. These people,
Or you can get your gun illegally if you want.
yeah, or I could get a legal gun like them. Like if you really want a gun, you can go out and get a gun.
Go out of state and then what? Bring it back?
Yeah,
I mean, like
no, plenty of people do that. I'm just saying, like, the answer is not more guns in terms of arming city. We're already armed. It's about prosecuting criminals. People don't feel like they have to pay a consequence anymore. No one feels it's always everyone else's fault, and I don't owe anything to the piper. You know, I never have to pay the piper. That is the attitude of criminals. And they feed it by saying a social network because we don't want to upset the sensibilities of people murdering the innocent.
So what criminal though is worried about the words that you call them? Oh, like
no, they worry a ton after they get caught so that they can sue.
Who?
Isn't that crazy though?
Really,
Isn't that
it's not
crazy
the criminals though. It's these lawyers that defend them then, because the criminals don't care.
What about Mosby? Mosby paid Freddie Gray, right? That's his name, his family, money before they even sued.
But what I'm saying, it's not the criminals themselves, it's the elitists around the criminals, right? Those elitist individuals that believe, oh well, they just did it because they were poor. Huh? No, like,
I believe
the criminals don't care about
criminals are smart enough to know how to manipulate the system in their
Yes,
favor.
yes, they do. But they also get coaching and coercion from the lawyers that defend them.
Of course,
this is where they're learning it.
Yeah,
but then you learn it.
That's what I'm saying. It's like it's a system. It's not one part. It's the whole system is broken. And what we need to do to fix the system is start by enforcing the law evenly and not worrying about people's feelings or that some sort of minority, disaffected minority will have something to say. I hate to break it to people, but Baltimore is a majority black city.
Yeah,
you're going to upset black people one way or the other.
And this is what kills me, particularly with people like Fox 45. They say Fox 45 is always going after black people. Well, I'm
Baltimore's a black city,
but it's like, who else are they going after? Like, who else is there to talk about particularly when it comes to politics?
I mean, and to be fair, they go after Brandon Scott. They go after Zeke Cohn as much as they go after Brandon Scott. So it's not limited to color of skin. It's limited to failure to public duty.
I just never got that about, like when you're looking at it, like everybody in the city is black. Like what magical white person would they be talking about? That's the mayor.
Martin O'Malley. He's the problem.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, black, white, or blue. I was thinking about this today, Gimpy. I was out in the city and I was seriously thinking about this today. I'm like, man, what's the alternative to more guns? And I'm like, if they got to a point in which the punishment was harsh enough, I'm talking gun violence is your. I was sitting here thinking, man, Texas, I like you, like expedited death penalty. You know what I mean? I'm like, man.
So I have a question for you. How do you guys feel about stop and frisk?
So I was reading this book called what was the
policy New York enacted under Giuliani to help rein in crime?
What was the name of that book?
Color Comedy and Common Sense?
No, I think it was called Talking to Strangers. Yeah, Talking to Strangers by Malcolm Gladwell. And I think it was Malcolm Gladwell, but regardless. But he was talking about, effective policing in that particular book, and they brought up the Sandra Bland case.
Mm-hmm.
The stop and frisk works when you put it when you target it to the high crime areas.
Yes.
Like, which is and
That's
if
why
you
I
look
went
at
from New York.
policing and you study where crimes happen, they generally happen in various, we can just call them hotspots or whatever, right?
Volatile neighborhoods.
The majority of crime it doesn't necessarily happen in a necessarily poor neighborhood or what
Well,
have you. It's
it
just
really does.
where the opportunity for crime exists, where the criminals are generally familiar with the area, where there's some level of comfort in the actions that are taken.
And the majority of those are high, and the majority of those places are low income. The majority of those places are
they do tend to be. But what I'm
liberal
saying
led.
is, but what I'm saying is, when you put stop and frisk and when you execute it in that manner, it works.
It worked. It cleaned. Giuliani had a city that was run by the mob and gangs, and he got the city so straightened out. He even cleaned out the Javits Center and the docks in Manhattan, like things that they thought would never be free of. So it is possible by enforcing the law to curtail crime. I know it sounds insane.
No, it sounds.
But I was in the barbershop not too long ago, and it's all black people in the barbershop, all black barbers. And it was like, yeah, man. And some of them had been in jail. Like, some of these barbers had been in jail. It was like, yo, man, they need to bring back stop and frisk. Because when that was the case, like, these kids weren't
walking around with guns in the city.
People weren't acting like this.
Yeah.
The problem with stop and frisk guards, even in New York, if you don't do that stuff properly, you can literally set yourself up as an officer for failure.
Absolutely.
That's the problem. The problem they don't know how to properly do stop and frisk. They really don't.
Right. So if you're just doing it randomly down the street, like for example,
and also officers targeting minorities for being minorities became a problem. Like, again, I understand that there are problems when you have let's call it bad faith parties involved in policing, because not all cops are bad, but not all cops are good either.
Yep.
Like, that's the problem. There's every profession has it, but when it's public safety, it stands out more.
Yeah.
So like what happened with the Baltimore task force a few years back. That doesn't mean Baltimore policing is innately corrupt, but that's how people view it.
Yeah. Well, Baltimore has a history of being
again, I'm just making this specific. I'm not talking about overall. I'm just saying that one event made people think all the cops in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And that's not accurate. We have to stop generalizing. Just like all black people aren't bad. Are bad. Like, you know what I'm trying to say. Like, all black people are not criminals.
Yeah.
I get that.
And all Mexicans aren't
black criminals should not put a negative on black people who aren't criminal. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we keep doing this broad stroke stuff. It's applicable for crime and minorities. It's applicable, like with Jews. You have problems with that too, where people paint broad strokes, lumping all the Jews in the country together as if we're one homogenous unit, when amongst ourselves. I mean, look, in the second Thursday on September, I'm debating that dude on KJ's show.
Yeah.
About Republican versus Democrat, which is a better, which is more in line with Jewish beliefs type stuff. I mean, we have to stop making it that we represent a group by the worst of us.
And you guys don't forget that second Thursday. Check that show out. Thursday night, 8:30 show. Dude, fix your camera.
Yeah, I don't know why this one does that.
You need The Wire. I'm betting you that it's The Wire.
No, it's solid connected. It's every 30 minutes it does it.
Really? Wow, that's weird.
Yeah, so it's I set the auto sleep to never turn off, but 30 minutes it just blinks.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but
technology.
But talking about that,
to quote space.
Moving on. Speaking about gun violence. Moving on. The second topic that was talked about in the show was very. Yeah, I tell you. But
we've been going tonight.
Yeah,
started with your ad libs, bro.
I'm telling you, it's man. I mean, for real, we can't talk about like clitoral stuff in ad libs. But really, this I found ridiculously interesting. because I know we're all big gun guys here. This bad boy right here, with the officers in North Carolina County being armed with Armalite rifles, 15s in school. What do you
Right.
guys think about that? Like,
My first
what
my
do
first
you
thought
guys
actually
think about that?
my first thought
For real.
actually is Armalite is getting massive marketing right now.
It has been
But I'm just saying,
since
like,
the 90s.
but
I mean,
they
since
are
we
like
had this obsession with it.
when no, but it's like Black Lives Matter for guns.
Young guys.
It's like it's like AR. Oh, and everybody thinks it's assault rifle. So when someone says AR-15, you're talking about Armalite,
A brand
Yeah.
manufacturer. That's it.
right? So when
That's
you
it.
just like when you say Black Lives Matter, you're talking about the organization, but that it's like,
People can't separate the two.
yeah, you can't separate between Black Lives Mattering and the organization, just like you can't separate Armalite
From the
from
gun.
assault rifle,
I get you. I get you.
right? But it's
Gimpy,
just
man.
like, it's
But
brilliant
Gimpy,
marketing.
how do you feel about this, bro? How do
See,
you feel about this, man?
we're okay. So, so two things. One, I want to make a comment about something you commented. You talked about it being he would have like a resource officer would be able, if he's a police officer, a real police officer, like in most places, he would not carry the same sort of AR you or I would buy from the store.
I
They
agree.
would be
Yes.
able to access a military grade AR. There's a difference. There's a civilian standard that only can be used in semi-automatic. And based on the fact that if they're a real police officer, they qualify to get a military grade, because they'll get it through the department. It'll be
Okay.
provided.
So for our people that don't know, can you explain? Are you saying there is a difference between
Right. Any
police?
gun that a
Okay, go ahead.
civilian buys from a gun store cannot be fully automatic unless it's under the grandfathered in, because it's so old a gun that it predates the ban on a fully automatic. Like, there are ways to get a fully automatic weapon as a civilian legally. It's difficult, whatever. But in general, a civilian can only own a semi-automatic Armalite. Right.
And you guys, that's why we go to Gimpy, because he's got all the info on it, man.
But
He's
if
got
you're
all,
a
he
police
knows.
officer, ever since 9/11, we have been arming our police. They get money in their budget from the Fed in order to arm themselves with military grade equipment. So that would be a military grade AR. It wouldn't necessarily even be an AR. The thing is,
So when you
in
say
this
military
instance,
grade, you mean can switch to
it
fully
has
automatic.
fully automatic
Yes.
capability.
So it's
and
not
it has
like
no restrictions built into the platform,
so it still shoots the same rounds.
but it shoots them faster.
Okay, but I'm just
Well, no,
pointing out,
because it makes a difference. I only have to pull the trigger once to unload the clip.
yeah, I get it. Yeah,
That changes the game. A, but B, the other thing is with this, we are willing to create prisons out of schools in inner cities to control violence. They walk through metal detectors at every entry. The doors are locked you can't, right? Like, we create all these things for safety to secure the building. Why wouldn't you put an armed guard? Like, that's the thing for me is we have these problems. Look at Uvalde. The cops were standing outside for 45 minutes. You have a guy on the inside. Ultimately, it came down to the guy on the inside. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Okay, so Gimpy, do you agree?
Someone who's
Do
trained.
you agree with this?
Oh, of course. I just don't
Okay.
agree with how they're doing it in North Carolina, because they're being publicly funded. Like, he's getting funding from outside the police budget to do it, which, like Autumn says, that leads to questions to why he's getting crowdsourcing for this project.
Okay, so let's take all of that out. Let's take all of that out. All right.
I'm
You
for
have,
arming
and I
security.
know you don't have kids. Logic and I both do.
Yeah, but I used to
So
be a teacher, so
okay, all right, cool.
I worked in
Do,
schools.
do you believe it's okay? Let's make this ridiculously general. Forget North Carolina and all that. With
Okay.
what's going on today, do you believe it's okay for qualified people to carry an AR-15 in school for protection?
That's too vague. I believe that a qualified student resource officer should be allowed to be armed with an AR-15 while on the job.
Okay, Logic, do you agree?
I mean, yeah, for the most part, yeah.
I mean, there has to be rules. It has to be regulated. There has to be a lot of oversight to it, and there has to be like. But yes, in a day and age where a kid could walk into school at any moment and unload, I want someone to be able to shoot back instantly. I don't want it to have to after that stuff in Texas, because I never pronounced that city's name right. What he said. We now know that you cannot rely on police to do their job.
Okay.
To come in and breach. So I would have more faith in a highly trained student resource officer being he can't run away. He's there. He's in the line.
Okay. Do you
He
believe
can't wait. He doesn't get the opportunity to wait because he's, he's down.
Let me say this, right? Let me say this, right? It's like this interesting scenario where we move the needle forward because of events that have happened. For example, I work in cybersecurity, right? So before, the only thing you had to protect against was port access and allowing it, right? So if you're an outside attacker and you're trying to attack my web server, if I had to allow those particular ports in a firewall policy to allow it. Now people have found ways to get around that. So now the next level is, okay, so now I'm like deep inspecting the traffic. All right, so I'm looking at what application now this internet traffic is going to Facebook, is it going to YouTube, Instagram, and is it that traffic that's going over, is it what it says it is, right? So now, because attackers are encapsulating their attacks through, essentially like a Trojan, just through other means, right? So I can make an HTTP request look like DNS. So I mean, this is geek talk, but
no, we got you.
You can for the viewers at home, you can convince the computer that you're dialing in from one place when you're really in another.
I can. So now, companies, corporations, or whatever, or just small business have to put up even greater defenses, right? This doesn't stop the level of attack. So now attackers go in a different way, using phishing and smishing and whatever.
And you
whatever
put
else
something up around your emails to prevent it.
So now you have to create this next level. Like when will you ever go backwards though? Like when will we ever just go back to
backwards.
having a firewall policy? Right. So now what we're seeing
back in the bottle.
Right. So now what we're seeing when it comes to schools, the only thing you need at first was a door, right? The only thing you needed was first was the door. People will stay out. All right. Now, okay, someone broke into the school and maybe stole some student records. Okay, so now we need to lock this particular cabinet and lock the front door. That was the next level. Okay, so then next time somebody
then they put metal detectors in the school.
And
there is no going back.
And stole a kid, right? Stole a kid. So now we're putting cameras up, right? So then next time, now somebody's bringing stuff in, like a kid's bringing weapons in.
Yeah.
So now we got the metal detectors. How are we going to go back?
You can't.
So then now we're having these outrageous school shootings. So how can you go back to saying, oh, well, no, we don't need armed teachers. We don't need people standing on guard. Like,
see, armed teachers for me is a 50-50.
I'm just saying, like, how can you?
No, I get it. And arms, dude, I'm a big proponent. I believe, honestly, it's the Israel mentality. It's something I picked up from all my time in Israel. The times I spent in Israel. Private businesses have security. They all have, like a normal store. You go in, they search your bag, and they're not cops or whatever. They're all armed. They're all licensed security. They have oversight, regulation. Israel's very
you go to the mall in Israel.
Rule.
You go to the mall in Israel. You got to go through metal detectors, and they got
that's what I'm saying. That's my point. Is that? But it's not the police. This is all private security there, hired by the businesses, and it's very regulated, and they're all very highly trained. And in Israel, most of them are all ex-military because they have mandatory service. So, like, in my opinion, I think in general, in the volatile nature of the world as it is today, everywhere should have security like because to what Chad was saying earlier, we don't have enough deterrence It's on us, the citizen. We can't.
Mhm.
And to what you were saying, we have to stop relying on politicians to save us. We have to stop thinking that there's some magic bullet answer, right? Like magic
Gotta do it
that
ourselves,
and we
man.
just have
Yeah.
to start taking responsibility to implement security at every level. Like that mall we went to do, the man on the street. They
Yeah.
had security there. They had guys come up to us. Why isn't that in every shopping center?
Yeah.
Why isn't that everywhere? Because why do we not have deterrence everywhere? Why are people so convinced that if you put the deterrence in visible view, somehow quality of life drops? Because without it now, quality of life is zero for most Baltimoreans in terms of crime.
I don't know if
Yeah.
you guys remember back in the early 80s during the Rodney King trials, there were the rooftop Koreans. Do you remember that?
They still have them. They're still around.
Yeah, I think I applaud those. I applaud
I mean,
those
Kyle
men because
Rittenhouse technically was that
Yeah,
too.
the rooftop. Yeah. They're still around. Rooftop Koreans, they're still around.
yeah, it's
Dude, when
it's
Security
something, man.
Boulevard was burning, you had that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember I worked on Security Boulevard when they shut it down for the riots after Freddie Gray. Like, I got locked in my work building till midnight one night.
Wow. That's crazy.
man.
So let's do this last topic real quick.
So for me, hold on, I didn't get it, but for me,
okay,
I'll just say, and I will make it quick, and you guys probably already know my answer. I am 1,000,000% for it. I was going to ask you guys before. Do you agree with what the leader of the North Carolina school system said? He said, you have to meet violence with violence. And I know we're short on time, but
you can't meet violence with kindness. I mean,
no, meet violence with violence.
No, that's what he's saying is you can't meet it with kindness.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like what else do you meet violence with? I mean,
hugs. What are you talking about? I hear what the Democrats said. I just need a social worker. Violence will be solved by social workers.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like what else? Like when you reframe the question, like what else can you meet it with? When you reframe,
I get you.
If
my daughter's in school,
blow it all up, man.
If my daughter's in school and I roll up for a PTA meeting or a PTO meeting or whatever, whichever one you do, and I roll up and there's an armed guard there and he's got an AR-15, I'm shaking his hand.
So I would say like you can't be like
him and saying "hoo-yah."
No, but listen, I would recommend not be like those British soldiers that just can't speak to you. If this is SRO, I think you still have to Gimpy's point, be that personable guy, right? It's a weapon, and it's a larger weapon, but you still have to be that welcoming person to kind of make it
work.
Work.
I agree with that. So I go in and this is completely off topic, and I talk about this to just about everybody. I don't think I've talked about this to you two gentlemen. I go to a church, or I visit a church now, that large church, and I roll up on Sunday, and there are policemen that are there, and I'm to the point where I think I'm like they probably actually go there. But here's the thing: these are armed policemen. And they are the nicest people on the planet.
Yeah,
like they hold the door for my wife. I mean, it's like I'm like, wow. This shows that you can be. I'm just saying.
All right,
I agree with you. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Last topic.
They don't. They shouldn't. Like there has to be a give and take between the protectors and the protectees.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. What's the last topic? I forgot.
Immigration.
Last topic was immigration. I thought this was interesting. Actually, no. To be more specific, illegal immigration. And I thought. Who wants to take a shot at this first? Logic? How do you feel about the aspect of what illegal immigration does to? I mean, Baltimore specifically being one of those states that are just like here. Bring them here.
It takes away from the jobs and the employment base, and I get tired of that whole narrative that says, well, they're doing the jobs that Americans don't want to do. Like that's
fact.
But how
many Americans are going to pick oranges in Florida? Like how many Americans are working the farms?
But I'm saying, like, if we're complaining about not having jobs and these jobs available, like, how elitist have we become to say
Very.
to say, and it's almost like this reverse slavery mentality, right? Like, we got rid of slavery, and to say, well, we're too good for that now, so we need more slaves.
Yep. That's exactly, you hit the nail on the head. That
Yeah,
was
man.
like the most poignant thing you've said tonight, bro. But that's
Like-
exactly right.
He says the most poignant thing he said tonight. All the other stuff he said was pretty much shit.
that's
But you know,
pretty much
No,
what
it was good, but this was poignant. It gets a
I
fancy
get you.
word.
I get you. I get you.
But that's what this is. Like, we're essentially, and that's probably the best way to put it. We're creating a new slave class of people.
Well, you heard what Blanca said.
Yeah, I was going to bring it up. Yeah, go
Invest
ahead.
their time and effort and work, and then they get fucked.
Yeah, it's crazy. This is the modern day legal slave trade. You don't need ships. All you need is an open border, and Greg Abbott to have a bus. And
Well, my question is
but are they doing
Greg
it?
Abbott didn't bust them away from Texas?
huh?
What would you rather Greg Abbott do in his
No,
position?
no, I'm not faulting him for that. I'm not faulting for it, but I was just making light of that part. But
No, I get you, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, like, seriously, from that perspective, what are the border state governors supposed to do when the federal government has abandoned them?
well, I mean, I think that's the genius plan. Send it to the places that said we're welcoming everybody. But the unfortunate part is Baltimore is one of those places that says we're welcoming everybody, and we can't even get our own crap together.
Yeah, we are. I tell
Yeah,
you.
but to be fair, how many illegals are part of the social network of crime and violence and drugs?
Well, I think there's another one that they won't talk about, because if you look at over Bayview and some of those particular areas over in East Baltimore, it's not pretty.
Okay, but how much of it is illegal immigrants causing the crime?
I don't know. I don't think it's probably not much right now in Baltimore City, to be honest.
What I'm saying is like we have a bad view on illegal immigration. My problem with illegal immigration is that they're breaking the law to get in the country, and as a result, they get rewarded. They get taxpayer funded everything.
That is some craziness. The biggest
And,
thing I've heard.
We have veterans
that
are killing themselves every day, or not getting the medical care, or being homeless,
or homeless. Yeah,
right. And we can't. And we have to have nonprofit organizations like Code Vet help these people pay their rent while we're housing. Okay, so like Yana's teaching ESL now in the mornings, right?
Mm-hmm.
Majority of her students are Afghans,
being
paid for by the U.S. government to learn English.
Wow.
And then these, I don't want to say it like that, but these.
I'm just saying, like the federal government is dumping whatever amount of money into teaching English to people that they took here and left Americans behind for.
Yeah.
But we can't manage to keep our vets from killing themselves. We don't have the money to put into the VA to make it an actually well-running healthcare system. Like somehow we don't have the money to take care of Americans, but every fucking one else, the illegals, the Ukrainians, the Taiwanese, we can send money to everyone but our own people. And then when they do give money to our people, we tax them for it.
Yep.
I'm going to say
I'm not okay with this is not me approving student loan debt erasure. I'm just pointing out that somehow our checkbooks have limitless zeros when it's for everyone who isn't American. But when it comes to actual Americans, they can't find the money for anything. Like there was no money for a wall until Biden realized he has to finish the parts that were started. Now all of a sudden there's money for a wall.
I swear I'm going to clip this. But you are like, dude, you're so correct. You are so correct. I have a large military, retired military family, and it's and thank God they're taken care of and all of that. Yes, not a lot of PTSD, not a lot of anything like that. There's some, but I tell you, man, that is one of the things that hurts me the most. That literally is one of the things that hurts me the most, to be in DC and see these vets that are like, I mean, I don't know if you guys saw the video that went viral about the guy who ended up burning his uniform. You guys see that?
No, I didn't.
Like I looked at this guy and tried to be empathetic. I'm like, damn, because and he openly admits I go through PTSD, this and that, but the military has this wonderful habit. The United States has this wonderful habit of creating warriors
Solve
and
a problem by creating a bigger one.
yeah, and they don't do anything about helping us get back into society. It hurts me, brings a tear to my eye because these men and women have essentially given
Everything.
everything for their
Oh, you
country.
talking about that old guy?
Yep.
No, young dude. He's a young dude.
No,
Like,
wait. Oh,
No.
the burning uniform. He did it down in D.C., didn't he?
yeah, what happened was a young lady came on his property, and because he had PTSD, the young lady said that she she was threatened by him, chased him around with a knife, all that good stuff, and he's sitting here like, I served my country, did all these tours, and they said that, and they believed her, and he just went off and burned his uniform. He has burned his Purple Heart and everything. You never get those back. You don't get those back. And I sat there and I was like, shit. Because I mean, I'm not in the military, but again, I'm like, man, I could have no clue what these men and women go through, and to see that that really got it got to me. It did, because I'm like, man, to see I have my wife's aunt is a military vet, and she has to go to the VA all the time and all that good stuff, and to know what these guys go through, it's like, man. But then to like go down the street and see all of these people who have come in from another country have all of these businesses and all of these loans, and you have all this money blows my mind.
See, but
blows my mind.
Let's make a determination to make that clear, because I know you mean illegal immigrants that are getting the money. You said immigrants.
Yes, exactly.
No.
Thank you for the correction.
Illegal immigrants.
Yes.
1, 2. Also, I have a big problem with our immigration system in general. It's FUBAR. We have all sorts of roadblocks that don't need to be there in general. Again, yet somehow they have money to fix everything but things like immigration. Or,
well, you need a voter base, and you need a new slave class.
I don't disagree. But dude, he forgave debt, right? So today Biden forgives debt. His base, half of them hate him for it because he didn't forgive enough. I read comments today. It's a win. It's not the win.
I mean, but when will that side ever? I mean, I guess when would really
that's
anyone?
That's
when will
what
anyone ever say,
Yeah.
well, it was ever enough, right?
No, but that's what I'm saying is they got something. It's still not enough. This is a common thing that we've talked about across other subjects, where you give them a little, trying to find. This is like what I was saying. Like,
common ground.
We don't have parties the common ground conversation we had the other night. We don't have parties negotiating in good faith regularly. Always someone's looking to get ahead on someone.
Yeah.
So how are you going to fix any things that they're repaired when both sides are busy trying to screw each other for political points?
Right.
Like, this is how we got here. We started compromising, and one side or the other took advantage of the side compromising.
Have there been any decisions recently that have been the win?
For who?
Anyone?
I mean, for Americans. I mean, like, ultimately, it'd be for Americans.
Sure. Yes, we've had a couple. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Biden, so I hate to admit his wins. But the infrastructure deal, whatever we get out of it, that's good, because for 30 years we couldn't get one. I mean, I know it's filled with bloat and loss, but
that's not a win then. That's not.
It is a win because we're fixing bridges and highways that would not be fixed otherwise.
But we're also creating a gas tax or a mileage tax.
That is not really okay. I agree that that's happening, but not the way you say it. It's a pilot program to see if it's a feasible.
It's going to be feasible. Right.
Again, but it's not law. They'd have to write a whole nother law that would have to pass through Congress to get that gas tax to actually be a real thing. Right now, it only exists in the conceptual.
So why is it in the bill? Like, this is the thing. Like, these things aren't wins.
Then then America has never had a win ever in terms of legislation.
Thank you. There's
you're always going to offend somebody.
You have to grease the wheels of it. Dude, you work in a corporation. You work in sales before. You know how it goes. You have to grease the wheels of industry to get things done. You do to get X done, you let Y and Z happen too.
And it will always happen. Yeah.
You have to. There has to be leeway room. Now, do you want to say, is there a win? No. The infrastructure is not 100% win.
No, I'm not saying
it's a win for us because we're getting infrastructure money that we have been begging for decades. more, and we got nothing. So are we going to say that that at least there's some tangible result, but because it cost whatever, it's not worth it? We're not bankrupting the nation over it because we'd be bankrupt already. You know what I'm saying? We owe so much money to say this trillion versus that. What's the difference between owing 30 trillion and 31 trillion?
I get it. I get it. I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
that's
So, like,
brilliant.
the fact that we have an infrastructure bill, that there's money going into this, we are the most powerful nation on earth. Our roadways are collapsing.
Yeah. I mean, I drive in Baltimore City every day.
So, dude, you don't need to be in the city. You could be in the country of Maryland, and the roads are fucked to hell.
But I'm just saying,
like,
I see it every day.
And Maryland, thanks to Hogan, is good about repairing.
But the only thing, like the thing I kind of
again,
not necessarily push back on
to the audience, I still hate Hogan, no matter how good he is for infrastructure.
Like, so there's things I want to push back on just slightly, not to say it's the infrastructure bill is a bad thing, but what happens, particularly places like Baltimore, and they do it with education too. They want to have this visual or these examples of how bad things are, to hold out to get more money. So instead of fixing things as you can, we need things to get worse and get worse and get worse,
so we can get more money. But
so we can get more money.
Oh, I can say
that
that
to do
about
with the bill at the federal level.
healthcare.
That has to do with how we don't hold.
But this trickles down, right? This it trickles down into the local, state, and local government.
Yeah, but it's corruption at that level that causes that. It's not that the bill is flawed. It's that the people who run Baltimore are flawed.
But
I mean,
so
we
you
just
can't.
saw them standing there.
Would you say at any point this bill came out at the point because enough of these holdouts have happened at the same time?
I don't know. That I think the infrastructure bill came about because of politics, not because anyone really wanted an infrastructure bill, even though they should have. I'm saying
because look, here's the thing. Like, if we waited another session or another year, it would have been more money.
Not necessarily.
Because
they could barely get the money they got now.
But I'm just saying, like, this is what happens, and it happens in Baltimore City schools.
Oh yeah, I get it. I understand what you're saying, but that is the nature of government. It's a massive beast that is inefficient. Like I don't disagree. You're not wrong, but we have to live in reality. This is something I've said before in terms of other things. It's what works now. Like, yes, I understand the ideal is to get to the point that you're looking to get to, where a clean infrastructure bill is created, passed down, and the cities and states use the money exactly how it's supposed to be used, and no holdout, and no corruption, and no fraud, and no siphoning funds to other projects, nothing.
It's unrealistic.
But in the world we live in, I accept the fact that in order to even get an infrastructure bill to be viable, there's going to be some sort of part of it I want to burn to a crisp.
Yeah.
Because there are 60 people who are only willing to agree for politics. They have even the same party people don't necessarily agree with each other unless look what they did to Joe Manchin. He signed off on the Inflation Increasing Act with the promise of getting bills to ensure gas, drilling, leasing stuff to happen. And now the progressives in the House won't follow through on their agreed promise.
All right,
they're going again. I mean,
it's tomorrow almost. It is tomorrow now.
Hey, I will say this and to close this out though, yeah, because we went long, but I missed you guys, so I do not I do not mind at all. No, dude, get your camera fixed, man.
It's been 30 minutes.
No, I really do appreciate you guys being out tonight. This was good. This was very, very good. We were missing a couple of ladies tonight, but you know what? It was still a wonderful show.
That was a good show.
It
had a slow start.
Mm-hmm. I mean, a little.
It's that Pokemon move, slow start. But once it got started,
absolutely,
the train left the station.
Yeah. Once they got to that North Carolina gun, they were going in. They were really going in.
I mean, I'm always impressed with Colleen. Mm-hmm. How she's willing to just put it all out there like that for herself.
Yeah.
I mean, the girl
she loves Florida.
On air, she took herself off her man in an episode like that.
She loves Florida though.
And yeah,
And
it
I
was it
called
was
it.
it was it was awesome having Blanca as well, because Blanca, as I said earlier, she said what she had to say, and I mean, she had a lot of force, she had a lot of emotion behind. Um,
I don't
I'm
know if that
sorry,
was
I'm talking.
Blanca's
Solid lady.
laptop
I'm I'm I'm
or
talking
her.
like
Like,
talking
no,
like getting the head
yeah.
involved.
I don't know if it was like her laptop
Oh boy.
mic or whatever. Or she using like her mic sound, her audio sounded really good today too.
Yeah, she
Uh,
was
who,
pushing through.
Blanca?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
Blanca. Yeah,
Yeah, her
yeah, man.
audio was crisp. I wonder what kept happening with EJ's.
Well, I don't
Yeah,
know.
that
She was on
too.
the mobile phone, and I know sometimes, like for example, if
If
a
you get like a
caller come
text or
in,
something and it cuts
yeah,
the
if something
mic.
comes in, like
Yeah,
it sometimes can screw up with the audio because StreamYard is a web based platform. You don't
Right.
download an
And
app.
if you cut the connection,
yeah,
it
man.
fucks it up.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
Like
And
weird.
if you
and
type,
I'll probably have to work on Autumn, because Autumn is relatively quiet. If anyone talks, and maybe she just needs to be mic'd up or something like that.
It's far away.
But yeah, or how far away she was. But
Yeah,
you guys, it was a great show tonight. It
it was
really,
fun.
really was
It was
a
fun.
fun show tonight. It
We
was
had
good
an
stuff, man.
interesting crowd in the audience tonight, that's for
Yeah.
sure. Some
Hey,
interesting
we didn't see our resident
troll,
troll tonight.
King
Yeah,
George.
we didn't see our resident
yeah,
troll tonight.
that's
He
good though.
probably
Hey,
had something better to do, like
hey,
He probably,
stalk
yeah,
a Supreme Court justice.
something
yeah.
like that.
That might be why you hadn't heard of him.
Hey, yeah.
All right,
Exactly.
guys, get out of
All
here,
right,
man.
man.
Before
Later.
before we get out of here, one more time, you guys, kindly for real check out our MCM launch party, Liberation, 7 p.m. to 11 p.m. September. We really would enjoy you guys being there. Meet the hosts of the show, meet us, the guys that run the show in the back. It's going to be incredibly awesome. Weather holds up. It's going to be an incredible night, incredible location. www.mcmlaunch.eventbrite.com. It is a free event. Also, any donations are welcome. We appreciate you to help us get the voice out there. We are www.metroconservativemedia.com. Thank you very much. Final thoughts, Logic, Gimpy?
Both ways before you cross the street.
Mm-hmm.
Just get after it. Just get after it. That's it.
Yeah, we are
Vote
lovers
Giovanni
of truth,
Patterson
you
for
guys.
mayor of Baltimore.
Man,
Hey,
I'm
you know what?
about to say I'm out of politics, man.
Hey, you want some real change? Also,
Dude, you know what? We're
follow.
still going to vote you for mayor, and when you win, you're still going to have to take the job, whether you run or not, buddy.
Yeah, but I mean, I have a new view on politics, man. I was going around saying I hate politics, and while I strongly dislike politics, it's almost like saying you hate money. Like, you kind of like politics is amoral, right? It's just
People make it.
It's a tool, right? Politics can be used for good, it can be used for bad, and we're in a state now where politics in general, the general perception is that it's been corrupted. But politics aren't necessarily bad, but they aren't necessarily good either. It's an amoral tool. Politics are a tool, just like money, just like a hammer. It can be used for good, it can be used for bad, and from my view in city of Baltimore, a lot of the politics has been used for bad. I would like to see that changed.
So
understand, we are a group of people that we are a group of people. We are a social network.
We are a social network of like-minded political activists.
Absolutely, that want to see what's good for Baltimore.
We might need to run with that. Like, we're a social.
We are a social network of like-minded political activists.
Yeah, we might need to run with that.
Yeah, I swear I need to clip that spot right before we say it. We are a social network, and then pop it on right before. But yeah, we truly appreciate you guys. Thank you for checking in with us. Thank you for hanging out with us. Again, follow us at www.metroconservativemedia.com. We're on pretty much all of the social media networks. We're on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram.
And we are
also
a social network.
And we are
the social
network. So we appreciate you guys. Have a wonderful night, and we'll catch you guys on the flip side. Gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with us tonight. Appreciate you. Deuces.